At this time, we ask that all Michigan's first available players please report to the podiums.
How's the family?
Good. Yeah.
Are we good to go?
Sure.
Jesse, there's a lot of experience on both teams. Just kind of how do you see that dynamic just overall? I mean, Washington has all these old guys. You guys are one of the most experienced teams in the whole subdivision.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's one of the factors in both teams getting here. Guys have been through a lot. Guys have played a lot of football, very experienced, and you see it show up in key situations where older players tend to understand how to handle the moment sometimes better than young players. So, I think we have a good mix on defense of some young guys that play for us, older guys. They certainly have a very experienced offense, and so it's a challenge, that we're looking forward to.
What were your initial thoughts when you saw the matchup against Washington? Obviously, they present a different challenge altogether than what you just faced in Alabama.
Yeah, just tremendous respect for them and how they operate, the offensive success, the team success. Coach DeBoer's track record, I mean, his head coaching record is off the charts.
Head coach Jim Harbaugh in the
So
house.
just great respect for them and their players. They got a lot of talent. Penix is Michigan's played against him before. I wasn't a part of that, but he's played against Michigan, so he kind of understands how we operate, and that's a challenge we're looking forward to.
I want to go back in your career a little bit at Georgia State. What did you learn as a coordinator there that you've been able to apply to Michigan that's resulted in success?
I think when you're young, you really learn to try to figure things out. Don't have the experience at the time, and so that was like almost like starting a program from scratch when we went there. So I think at those types of places at the G5 or other places, where maybe resources aren't as high, you try to learn to use the resources you have, try to maximize your talent. Really loved my time there, loved living there, loved the school, loved the people there, and really had a great experience sort of trying to hone my craft there in the 4 years I was there.
What's the number one lesson you learned?
It's still really about the players, coming there. I'd just been at Indiana State, where we had a really good defense. You go there, you learn quickly that, it's about accumulating talent and teaching and developing. Something like I said, I feel good about what we were able to do there, but it's about trying to acquire talent and then develop players. And I think that's the success now that we have at Michigan is a direct reflection of that.
Washington's offensive line won the Joe Moore Award. How important is it to get pressure on a team, especially when they're so well coached, and protecting the quarterback?
Yeah, I think it's a great challenge. They've only given up 11 sacks. Sometimes in this type of game, it's not necessarily about the sack numbers. It's about affecting the quarterback some way, somehow. And sometimes that's through coverage. Sometimes that's through pressure. Sometimes that's through winning one-on-ones up front. So it's a great challenge. Their O-line has played really, really well. I love our D-line, so that's a matchup I'm excited to see play out on Monday.
Jesse, just organizationally and I guess as far as resources, how does Michigan compare with your experience in the NFL?
It's an interesting question. I think one thing both places was with Coach Harbaugh, both Coach Harbaughs. So I think the way they operate is very similar. And what I mean by that is it might not be a ton of bells and whistles in our program, but anything that we can do to maximize the players' ability to develop as players, I think is where we put our resources. So, you're talking about the strength program, the weight room, the facilities. Like if you look at our program, it's about player development. That's the epicenter of our program and why we've been good. So I think it was the same thing in the NFL. I think that's an underrated thing that the Ravens are really, really good at is drafting players and developing them. And they have so many homegrown players now that are playing key roles for them as they're striving to win the Super Bowl. So I think player development is the epicenter of that for both those teams.
If you dropped in on one and the other, would there be an appreciable difference if I did?
I think there would be a lot of similarities just in how they operate, how, the time commitment to being good at football. the reps. You get good at football by playing football. I think the guys that have been through the Ravens organization would say, like, you're gonna learn how to practice hard. You're gonna practice to get better, and certainly that's how we operate at Michigan. So, I think there's certainly some differences in how you treat 30-plus-year-old guys in the NFL versus the guys we have. But I think overall you would see similarly run structure, similarly run organization.
Jesse, in a game like this, it's about the matchups. It's about the matchups. Obviously, everyone's talking about Washington's passing attack against the number one ranked pass defense. You got their wide receiver core. I mean, the challenge is again of stopping that core altogether. They had that star power at Oduzzi, and then just from my amateur eye, I mean, they do look like they like to throw that fade ball a lot. I mean, just the challenges that all of that presents.
Yeah, it's a tremendous challenge. They got elite skill. Their whole receiving core is really, really good. They got draft choices all over the field at the skill positions and on the O-line and at quarterback and at running back. So it's a different type of challenge than the Alabama offense where, the O-line was that big physical group, and then they had speed. They had a quarterback that could do different things. This is, a little bit more of a matchup game where it's elite quarterback that can get the ball to his guys and is not afraid to throw into tight windows, is not afraid to give his guys chances at one-on-one. So we expect the ball to be thrown downfield, and look forward to the challenge of trying to defend that.
Specifically with Michael Penix, he had one of the best performances you could have in a college football playoff semifinal against Texas. Just ripped throws outside over the middle of the field. Really good pocket maneuverability as well. When you watch him throughout this week of preparation, what do you see and what makes him stand out, especially as you kind of look at what he could do potentially the next year?
Yeah, I mean, he's elite, and I think it's his ability to process the information that he's given. So, I think they do a really good job structurally trying to undress your defense a little bit, trying to give him an idea of what coverages you're playing, things like that. So now he has that information pre-snap, and he's able to process it really quickly. He has a quick release that goes along with his ability to think fast, make quick decisions. He's really accurate. And then he trusts himself and he trusts his receivers. So there's very little hesitation in his game. So I think, that's what makes him really good. And I think that translates to the NFL. Your ability to think fast, read defenses, process information, get rid of the ball quickly, get the ball where it needs to go in space. So elite player, elite challenge for us, but one we're really excited about. Yeah, I mean, they played their defense. I'm sure there's things they would do different, if you asked them. But I thought their interior guys who are really good players got some pressure. I thought they surprised them a little bit with some perimeter run game in that game that Penix ran the ball a little bit more than he had all year. And then they do a really good job formationally trying to get you into certain looks. So I think they had some answers for how Texas adjusted to certain formations and got them into some certain looks. And so that's something we got to be aware of and be keen on. And, like I said, look forward to going against this high-powered offense. Just a little bit, yeah. I mean, I just think the way they play, the way they operate, they get the ball out quick, they run RPOs, they run the ball enough to keep you off balance. They formation you to death with different shifts and motions and different looks. So it's about kind of handling that and still being able to play the style of defense you want to play.
Can you talk a little bit about all the pre-snap motions that Washington does and how difficult that is to process?
Yeah, they do a really good job. Like I said, I think they try to undress your defense in a sense to where they can give the quarterback some answers pre-snap as to what you might be playing. So they do that by putting people in different positions. You kind of got to tip your hand if you're in man or zone, tip your hand if you're pressuring. So it's a great challenge. You got to have some different ways to handle the shifts and the motions and the adjustments and not let them do that. But it's a big part of what they do, and it's a big part of our plan to, try to combat.
I wanted to ask you about Rome Odunze, number one specifically. What is the best aspect of his game when you put on tape? Is it like where he's at catch point, his body control? What are the things that stand out about Devontae?
I think it's his ability to make those contested catches that really separates him. I mean, he's obviously got a great skill set. He's big, he's fast, he runs really good routes, but he very rarely doesn't come down with the ball in the contested catch opportunities. And part of that's Penix, where he puts the ball. He does a great job, like throwing the back shoulders and putting the ball where the defender can't quite get there. But his ability to make those key plays when he has tight coverage, I would say, is what makes him such a great player.
I know he's a bigger guy, but it seems like he can play almost like a smaller slot. Does that come across? Does he look like he plays almost like a smaller guy?
Yeah, I just think he's a really good overall receiver. So he has that ability to wiggle. He has that ability to run good routes. I think he's, we went against Marvin, and people have kind of compared the two. I think they're both elite. Like, they're probably going to be the first two receivers picked. So it's another great challenge for us. We got to know where he is at all times, not let him wreck the game, and look forward to the challenge.
You just started talking about my next question. How much can you compare with the Washington and Ohio State offenses, and how do you think your experience against Ohio State the last 2 years will help you in this matchup?
I think structurally and schematically they do some different things. I think when you look at the personnel, it's probably a little bit more, I think you have an elite quarterback on Washington that can process, that can make all the throws. I think Stroud was similar to that, the guy we defended the last 2 years before this year. And then their skill at receiver is certainly comparable, just talent-wise and the rosters they've accumulated. I think their offensive line this year, obviously they won the Joe Moore Award, so they've played at an elite level. So we certainly, I think anybody that we've played, hopefully there's experiences that we can draw upon from the different style of teams. This is a unique offense, but I think we've seen elements of everything that they do versus different people that we've played the last couple years. So we look forward to drawing on all of our experiences and trying to have a great plan and trying to come out on Monday and play our best ball. He obviously, big moments. He's done that a bunch this year. I think as an overall game, obviously he played, he played really well. He kind of carried him to the win. But even in some of the games where, you look at stats and like, hey, this team had him on the ropes, critical moments, he's making the plays to keep the game alive, to win the game. So they certainly have great trust in him, his ability to make plays in those moments. He's played so much football. He has so much confidence. He plays in such rhythm that he got rhythm against Texas early. And if you let him do that, I mean, it can certainly be a long day.
Just kind of similar. I mean, with Penix's skill set, what's the thing that he does physically that's maybe different from any guy that you've seen so far this season?
I think it's his ability to process information, to move in the pocket, and then to have a super quick release and get rid of the ball and be really accurate. So some of the guys we've played, there's elements of their games, but this dude overall, I mean, his ability to process, his ability to see what's there, make tight window throws, be really accurate, give his guys great chances to make, contested catches downfield. He's as good as it gets in college football. Yeah, Rayshon, unfortunate injury. I think he'll come out of it well down the road. But yeah, tough deal for him, and look forward to getting him back down the road.
Coach, thank you. So, Coach, you were with the Ravens for 4 years. You worked with guys like Eric Weddle, Marlon Humphrey, Marcus Peters, great defensive backs like that. How has your experience with Baltimore translated to coming to Michigan and teaching defensive backs?
Yeah, I mean, there's obviously a lot of correlation in what we do schematically. I think trying to teach guys is the same at every level. I learned a lot from those guys, Eric Weddle in particular, like older guys that have been in the league a long time. What do they need to know? Sometimes as a young coach, you try to tell the guys everything, and I think when you teach pros and coach pros, you kind of start to learn what they really need to know and how you can streamline the information for the guys. So certainly try to carry that here. coach our guys up and try to put them in the best position to be successful.
Is there anything you learned from working with one Harbaugh brother that led you to helping the other Harbaugh brother here in Michigan?
Yeah, I mean they're so similar. They're both just elite leaders. They can bring people together. They can get guys to, play as a team, but still have their personality and still let their personality shine. So both have just great cultures in their locker rooms, great team, great staff culture, and just both, two of the best leaders in all of sports.
Hey, Jesse.
Hey.
So when you have two of the best offensive tackles that you're going up against, does that make you change schematically what you do with your blitz, maybe hit the interior and you just play Michigan?
I think they have good players across the board, so do we, and I look forward to our guys having the challenge of going against their guys. It's certainly Joe Moore winning O-line, so they're good everywhere. We have to pick our spots to pressure. We have to pick our spots to rush. We have to pick our spots to do different things, and great challenge and one we're excited about.
Did Michael Penix's legs kind of catch you guys off guard when you saw it on tape? Because he has two ACL tears, he hasn't run in so long. He had 30 yards, 2 on design runs.
Yeah.
He's had a couple.
Most, I would say no, because I think like most championship type of games, guys are willing to do things that, they might not do. I think they've been really smart with them this year and how they've played to get them to this point healthy. And I think now it's like anything goes, and we're trying to win a national championship. So most of the time, most quarterbacks have a more willingness to run in the big game, the championship game, the closer the ball gets to the end zone, like critical moments. So we certainly expect him to possibly keep the ball in those critical situations.
Theoretically, just high level, when you have an offense similar to 2019 Joe Burrow, they just see it in the spot on the field and they can hit it. Just theoretically high level, defensively, how do you smack against a team that is so good at hitting an empty spot on the field?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to give away our game plan right now, but it's a great challenge, and we got to do a good job not giving them a bunch of layups, not giving them a bunch of easy throws, but at the same time protecting the shots and do that. So great challenge, and we look forward to seeing how it goes on Monday.
Coach, are you aware that the referee officiating crew is the highest PI calling crew in all of college football?
Yeah, I am, and they've drawn about as much PIs as anybody in football as well with the times they throw the ball downfield. So great challenge. Our guys got to play really disciplined, really technique driven, but not be afraid to go make plays on the ball. So we're not going to let the numbers of that dictate how we play. We're going to try to go play our style of football. I think we're one of the least penalized teams in college football as a team and as a defense. So we look forward to putting our best out there and seeing if it's good enough.
Thank you, Coach.
Coach, obviously you're studying for this Washington team, but when it comes to looking at a guy like Michael Penix, is there any use to going back to that Indiana game when they played Michigan? Have you actually looked at any of that film to see Penix at all?
I mean, I've buzzed through a little bit of his Indiana film. He had the same really offensive system with Coach DeBoer early in his career there. So I think anytime you're playing somebody, you're trying to look at as much as possible. But I don't put a ton of stock into what he did against Michigan. It was totally different defense here, different scenario, different situation. But I know our players are looking forward to the challenge that he presents.
Coach, when you saw Ernest Osman's name go into the portal, what were your first reactions? What did you guys want to do when you saw him in there? Obviously, you want to go get him, but how had you approached doing that? And then what has he brought to the team this year?
Yeah, I remember just getting a call that, hey, the linebacker from Nebraska, we kind of knew what number he was, how he played against us, pulled up the tape against Michigan from 22, and I mean, this guy had 10 tackles and a sack against our offense, and so, it's like, wow, he's played in the Big Ten, he's played in our stadium, he's made plays against our offense, which I think is really good. And so he was a guy that we targeted, tried to go after once he was in the portal, and super excited that we got him. He's brought such a tremendous level of competition and depth into our linebacker room. He's played really, really well. We kind of have 3 starters as our 2 inside backers, and he's had a really good year, and I expect him to have another really good couple years coming up here at Michigan.
How's it going, Coach?
Good.
So obviously you had ample time to prepare for a great team like Alabama. This week, 6 days, maybe less, for another elite offense. How have you approached this week in getting prepared for Penix and everything that Washington brings?
Yeah, it's really a normal week. We played on a Monday last week. We play on Monday, so it's similar to all of our games throughout the season and the time that we have. We did have some prep work done on both teams, with the long layoff going into the last game, so probably had a little bit of a jump on them. But in reality, it's a normal week. It's normal amount of practice time, normal amount of reps. You certainly would love to have more time, with the offense that they have. But they got the same amount of time. We got the same amount of time. Let's tee the ball up on Monday and let's play ball. Yeah, he's got a great talent. He's got great size, great speed, great ability to run routes. Most impressively, probably the ability to make elite one-on-one catches, contested catches. He's set up to be a really good pro for a long time with his skill set, his ability to win those one-on-one matchups. So he's a great challenge, and one we're excited about.
You went up against Marvin Harrison Jr. earlier this season. Can you talk
Ladies
about
and gentlemen, please stand by as Michigan players rotate podiums.
Yeah, I think there's some similarities. They're both probably the top 2 guys in college football. I'm not trying to slight anybody else. These are just the 2 that I've been, seen and watched, prepare for. But both really, really good. Both have the ability to kind of take over the game, to wreck the game, so to speak. So both just great skill set. Both probably will be top, potentially top 5 picks. Both of them are top 10 picks for sure. So tremendous challenge. One, we got to know where he's at. We got to be aware. They have a lot of other guys too, so you can't just center around him. They got other guys that can beat you. So it's a great test and one we're excited about. Thank you. Thank you.